have stopped by. In tonight's video, I want to test something. A lot of these videos are going to be tests to see, do you guys resonate with this type of content? And I'm kind of spitballing as per usual, but I want to talk about, I'm maybe 80% of the way through. Maybe that's generous. I've been slacking a little bit, but Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And for those of you who don't know, that is a book. And for some context, actually before we get into anything, I want to say again, thank you for being here. I love you. I know. I mean, that's just crazy to start off a video to just be hit with that. But look, I can't undo it. So if that was too much, feel free to leave. If that made you just like, oh God, what's this guy? I thought this guy was gonna rant about, David Goggins, and now he's out here saying that. So look, anyway, if you are subscribed, if you are viewing, which you are, if you are liking, if you're sharing, if you're commenting, if you're doing any of these things, I appreciate you. So I just wanted to say that before we actually dive into the video. But let's get into a little bit about this, or I guess let's get into my backstory. No, but seriously, I watched a lot of David Goggins' podcast. I watched the shorts of him running. I knew who he was, right? But I didn't really know who he was. I didn't actually know his story at all. And I saw the running videos. I'm like, okay, this guy's a G, probably in the army, all this stuff. But recently, I was told by a friend to read the book. He has 2 books, and I'm going to read the second one, but got to read the first one first. So, I'm reading that, and it's insane how much it was needed, right? Because this friend told me basically when you watch him on like the Chris Williams podcast, you need the book, like you need context of his life to understand the sort of conversation they're walking through. And I must have not like really paid attention to that conversation or listened to like half of it. But anyway, I started reading the book, and his life is insane. So I don't know if I'm supposed to like, I'm giving lessons here, but I don't know if I'm going to spoil it. So spoilers ahead, I guess. But pretty much, I'm not saying a lot. I mean, he just had a horrible childhood, right? Abusive father, made him work pretty hard. Was not paid. Was abusive to the mother, to him, to his brother. And then eventually he breaks away. His mother breaks free of the dad and moves away with David and his brother. I think his brother actually leaves at one point. But David stays with his mom, gets like has a new stepdad, and he gets killed. And it's just crazy. Like it keeps moving. And again, like when you're reading this is just his childhood. Like you're not even at the part where he, for context, he's just living that life, that horrible childhood, and then eventually he comes to a point where he really wants to be in the army. But I mean, like he's just faced so many challenges his whole life, like academic, being bullied in school, like all this stuff, right? And then you fast forward and he's like a 300-pound man, right? 300-pound man. He works for Eco Lab, which is spraying for cockroaches, by the way. So not a flattering job, right? And if you know where he is now, it's insane. He's like, the craziest dude, runs like ultra marathons, sold 2 best-selling books, goes on huge podcast, speaks. I mean, was a Navy SEAL, went to Ranger School. He did, like, I don't think I'm even doing justice to how much stuff this man has done. But I want to give some of my biggest lessons from what I've been reading so far. And again, I am kind of just spitballing this, but the first one that really, I wonder if there's like an order I could do this in. And I just thought this would be fun because who doesn't want to, as you're falling asleep, who doesn't want to be inspired to run like 30 miles, 40 miles? Like it's the best feeling as you're falling asleep. No, but seriously, I was just like, I'm reading this book, may as well give some insights. So I think the first one I'm gonna dive into is, I actually do have ideas. I'm just thinking which order I should go in here and how many I should do. How many? Maybe 3. See, many I can think of, because I'm actually trying to apply what's in this book, and I'll talk about that as well. What does that even mean? Okay. We'll start off with being real with yourself, okay? So, this is a concept that he says, and I really, really like it, because I think in life, a lot of the times you will find opposites, right? You'll find someone saying, here's one thing, it's black, and someone else is going to say it's white, and someone's going to say it's hot, and someone's going to say it's cold, right? And it's like, okay, well, which one? You just said that this person said this person said that. They're both a credible source. What do I do? And collecting my thoughts here, collecting my thoughts. So, a lot of the times, we might hear that, we need affirmations, we need these positive things that we say about ourselves. And yeah, like, we need good self-talk, because no one's going to sit here and say we need bad self-talk, we need negative vibes. Like, we don't want that, right? But I think there's this balance of like, okay, you have to be real with yourself, and this is what he talks about, and this is one of the challenges he gives at the end of the chapter, is like looking in the mirror and being real with yourself, right? Because if you're going to sit here and you're out of shape, or you're not, eating right, or you're not doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing, you're not actually doing the task to build the business you want to make, the YouTube channel, it happens, right? We all have our areas that we slack in. And if you cannot look in the mirror and say, this is a problem that I have to fix, nothing can happen. And I think I talked about this in another video, in another rant. But if you do not acknowledge a problem, there is then nothing to fix. So you have to acknowledge a problem. And this is horrifying for so many reasons. I mean, I'll look in the mirror and be like, I suck. Like, that's kind of aggressive. Like, I wouldn't say that. It's just being real. Just say it how it is. That's the problem, is when people do this, they ascribe a label to it. Like, if you look in the mirror and you're overweight, and you're just like, I'm overweight, there should not be this, like, overwhelming sense of dread. It should be like, no, that's just the truth. This is just a fact. Like, I am over the average weight. That means nothing. Like, I can go to the gym for the rest of my life now and be fine, right? I'll be healthier, I'll be slim, have a 8-pack, right? Like, whatever it is. So that is the problem. You have to. Being real has this negative thing attached, where it's like, if I say this thing, I then admitted it, and like, I don't want to admit it. And again, I have my areas, right, where I'm like, if I'm not doing the work I should be doing, right? For me to say that out loud, it hurts. It's like, oh, no, like, I don't want to say that. But a lot of the times you got to take it outside of the mind, and the moment you say it, now it's like, okay, now we have a problem. And a lot of the times we're not talking to ourselves like we're a friend. Like, if we just looked in the mirror, we're like, dude, you got to do the thing that you said you would do. You know what I mean? You just kind of just talk like a friend. Might seem crazy, but I'm going to start doing it, because I actually haven't really done the look in the mirror thing. But I'm starting to do more of the be real thing, because I feel like for so long I was attached to this fall in line with who you want to be. And like, yes, all of these things are true, but to do that, you have to face reality. And sometimes reality sucks, and it moves you. Like, if right now I'm just like, oh, I'm this, and I'm not moving the needle any further. The moment I say, no, I'm actually slacking here, then I pick up that slack, because I was real with myself. But it's only the moment I tell myself, okay, let's get real. Let's be real. Let's not mask this thing that I'm hiding to my own self, as if I can hide something from myself. I know deep down something's wrong, and I'm trying to hide it from myself when I see it all. What's the point of doing that? There is no point, right? You're just fooling yourself, and you're not really fooling yourself, because you're seeing it all. So the first tip from this book that I really got is to be real. Be real with where you're at. And don't add emotion to it. Again, do not add this objective, or not objective, but do not add on your I say, you don't do the work you say you're going to do, you don't do this, it seems like negative affirmations. But they're not. It's just reality. Like, if I say I'm going to go to the gym and I don't go to the gym, that's just reality. That just actually happened. I just didn't go to the gym. Now, is it good? Not really, right? But that's why you're being real, is because you're saying, okay, I said I was going to go to the gym every day, and I didn't go any of the days of the week. That's just reality. And now that might motivate you to move. So just experiment with it, right? Like, maybe you are the affirmations person, whatever, but you do got to be real to some level. You kind of got to know, okay, like, I'm not doing this. Like, let's just be real. Look in the mirror. Say it. I'm looking at a camera right now, right? That is the first one that I thought was just like, wow, that's kind of the opposite of what I feel like I hear nowadays. Not many people, like, it's simple, but it's effective, right? The second thing that he kind of talks about the entire book is callousing the mind. And I think it's very important that a lot of us do this. And I guess I'm going to have to define what callousing the mind means. It means being able to build mental strength so that you can have it, I guess, for when you need it, or at all times, right? And it has to be hard. Like, let's just be real, right? So he went through, for context, I mean, this guy, besides going on ultra marathons, like running 200 miles, and it was like horrible, like bleeding, I mean, everything you can imagine, bleeding, chafing, sweating, obviously, just crazy. And there's a million things I'm leaving out, and there's probably more in his other book. I mean, there's a lot more in his other book. But he went through Hell Week 3 times. Like, this is something that SEALs do. Hell Week, it's a week long, as you can probably guess. You're in the freezing ocean, you're out, you're carrying boats, you're carrying logs, lack of sleep, lack of food, lack of water. He went through it 3 times. He got sent out of it twice against his own choices and due to like injuries and stuff, and then came back twice, and he did it 3 times. So callousing the mind, though, is something he talks about pretty much the entire book, and that is what he's doing through this training, right? Is being able to become such a beast that you have this mental fortitude, right? That you have this thing built up. And I think it's interesting to think about, because I go to the gym, but that isn't necessarily mental callousing for me, right? Like, I just go, it's routine. So like, not to act like that's not a big deal, because it's important that I go, and I've been able to go for so long. You'd think I should give myself some credit, but there's nothing really like, oh, like, I went to the gym today, like, that's huge. Like, I'm just saying, that's just me. If it is the callus for you, that's awesome, but like, I've just adapted, so it's not my callus, I guess. So obviously David Goggins is a big runner, because he runs 200 miles sometimes, as you do. And I started running, and it became such a sense of like mental callousing, I guess, for me. It became like, I love it. And I started a few weeks ago. I think I did talk about this in another video, and I upped it by a mile each day. Been falling on and off, but basically, let's just say I got to 5 miles, and then there was the next day, or the next few days, I was like, I don't think I'm going to go 6. That's crazy. It's going to take me a while. I go 6. And then I go for a run a few days ago. Was it a week ago? A few days ago. And I'm like, am I going to do 7? And I'm like, I don't think I can do 7. It's going to take me like an hour and a half. I'm like, I don't know. I got to eat. I got to be home at X time, like whatever. I went 8, and I was pretty damn proud, because that is so much further than 7. I mean, going an extra mile. But I just couldn't stop listening to David Goggins while I run, by the way. Like, I listen to these videos of him, just like, 1 hour of him, of running, of clips of him running, and like, it inspires the hell out of me, because like, maybe music is good while I'm running, but I want that real, like, okay, this guy's running at 100-degree heat for a day. Like, I need that. I need him in my ears, basically. And I say all this to say that for me, and I still gotta give myself some credit, but that is mental callousing. That is something where, like, going to the gym is just, okay, it's like my routine, whatever, like, I do it, it's good, it's awesome. But I'm not, like, diving into my mind being like, I did that. Like, let's just put it this way. I would never go up to my friend and be like, I went to the gym today, and they would be like, shut up, bro, like, no way. You know what I mean? But if you go, like, I ran 8 miles before I came here, it's just like, whoa, you, like, what? Or, like, I ran like a half marathon right before I got here. Like, what the hell? Like, who does that? Who just runs a half marathon, or who runs, like, however far? So it's this thing that you can do, and, like, you can reach back in your mind, and it is this callousing, right? Like anything, it is making you a better human being, but it's something I can just pull, right? So anytime I feel bad, or anytime I feel like I'm being judged, or like anything's coming my way, I can be like, dude, I ran 8 miles. Like, that's like, how did I even do that? And it gives me this sense of, like, self-respect that just launches me, and I feel good after. I mean, you got to imagine, especially when you crush it by a mile, like, you feel good, and you feel that, like, that pain feels so good, right? Like, I'm sore, my legs hurt, I come home, and I just feel like this. And it's so weird because it's self-pride. Like, I come home and, like, maybe my family will say something, but it's like this like, damn, like, I want to, like I did that, you know what I mean? And it's like stacking. It's just so weird that you can do that right now. Like, I can just go outside right now after this video if I wanted to, and run and become like a beast. I could just run like 12 miles, and I could stack that every day, and then be like, wow, like, you know what I mean? It's just so weird that you have the ability to do that right now. Like, most people can, like, go outside and run right now, right? And you don't need, like, anything fancy. Like, you just run. But again, it can be whatever your thing is, but running is a great one because it's a constant test of, like, dude, I don't want to do this, and it's like, okay, you can keep going, and you test the boundaries a lot because, like, I mean, when I first started this, I got tired after running like 0.6 miles. I'm not kidding. Like, it's crazy. And to go in a few weeks to jump to 8 miles, even after having a ton of rest days in between, gym in between there, it's crazy. So this is another big one, mentally callousing your mind. Give yourself challenges, because something that I hear Chris Williamson talk about a lot is chosen suffering and unchosen suffering. And unchosen, like, things will happen in life that are unfortunate. It's just how it goes, right? Things don't go according to plan. But if you mentally callous yourself, now things will still suck sometimes, right? But if you can reach back in and, like, you know how strong you are, and you've proven it to yourself, things might suck a lot less. So you go through your life and something pops up. Okay, so imagine this for David Goggins. A problem pops up in his life. It sucks. But is it sucking more than Hell Week 3 times, right? Like, you have to realize, like, his standards have shifted heavily. Like, he can always have a problem, be like, okay, like, I went through Hell Week 3 times, right? So, like, it's not as intimidating of a problem when you've been through what you've been through. So that was chosen suffering. He didn't just fall into the SEALs. He chose to be in the SEALs. He wanted to do that. So similarly, because, SEALs is running and SEALs are kind of the same thing. Not really. But me choosing to run, that is chosen suffering. So maybe when a smaller problem arises that usually would bother me, it's like, deep down I'm like, okay, I'm pretty mentally tough. Like, it's just something you can pull and be like, oh, remember you ran 8 miles, and on mile 3 you thought you were going to stop, and then you thought on mile 4 and 5 and 6, and you kept going and you kept going, and you can just dig in and pull out something, and that is the mental callousing of your mind. And that is the third concept that I just found myself lying on, which is the cookie jar, 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 the cookie jar. And this cookie jar, cookie jar, is something, it is exactly that. So when you mentally callous your mind, you have a cookie. It is a cookie, and it is in the jar. Hence the cookie jar. But David pretty much talks about when he was younger, even though his mom was not very well off, she always had a cookie jar, and it was always full. And you would reach in, and you never know which one you'll get. It was not a clear jar, and you reach in and pull one out. Boom. Exciting, right? And similarly, when we do things, we have to add them to the cookie jar. So that when things in life, this is pretty much what I just said, I'm actually just kind of restating it. I almost try to make it my concept by talking about mental callousing, but it's really his thing. But you can reach back in, and you can use this to just propel and compound and compound and compound. For example, when I am on my next run, and I have to go, let's say 9 or 10 miles, I'm going to be thinking a few times, I don't know if I can do this. But I can reach back into my mind and think, I ran 1 mile, and then the next day I did 2, and then I did 3, and then I did 4, and then I did 5, and then I did 6, and then I did 8. And I can reach back in every time and see, wow, I just kept going. I kept going, and I can reach back and think of all the times in my life, not just running, but I'm thinking of running, right? And I can pull those and use those to propel me further, to launch me, and it can compound and compound and compound, because maybe the next day I run 9 miles, and then when I gotta run 10, I'm like, yesterday I ran 9, and that's powering me the whole 10 miles. There you go. So, that was kind of a fast ending point, but it has been 22 minutes. So, I think this has been extensive enough. Let me know what you guys thought of this. So, to recap. Thought someone's about to walk in my room, but it looks like we're good. So, first thing, and again, this is a weird kind of combo of ASMR, where it's I'm hitting you with David Goggins things while maybe you're going to bed or trying to relax. Weird combination. Maybe this won't work. I don't know. But be real with yourself, right? Look in the mirror, look in a camera, look at your phone, and say, what about me? Do I think, and again, it's not this offensive thing. It's not I have to, because people are afraid to face change. It's if you look at yourself and say, I have to change, it's I don't love myself. Loving yourself is being able to say, I need change, and I will make the change happen, right? It is not this again, we all have our own areas. I want to be more, I want to talk with more people. I want to be more just kind of good vibes, all around. For me to sit here and be oh, you don't love yourself because you're not that, if I became that process, that journey is, it's just not true, right? It's just you using that almost as a crutch, I guess, to not change. So don't view this as a bad thing. Being real with yourself is not this lack of it might suck to be real with yourself, but that's what is going to lead to change, and change is not a bad thing, right? The second thing is callousing your mind to do hard things, right? Hard things will happen in life, and if you can reach back in your mind and say even right now, you don't even have to go out and do it. I mean, yeah, I'm not sitting here telling someone to do a 10-mile run or whatever it is. Think back to times where you did things that were hard intentionally, or where things were hard and you got through them. You have moments in your life where life just threw things at you and you got through it. And you have things that you maybe chose to do that were hard and you got through it, and here you are on this ASMR video, right? And you've lived through that. So think back to those times, callous the mind, but continue to do things that will callous the mind, right? What every day will make me stronger, right? Because I'm thinking about that in terms of weights, right? I'm going to the gym. What will make me mentally stronger? A lot of people don't think about these things on a day-to-day basis. Like, this is not people's top priority to be like, how can I become mentally strong every day, right? But it should be. It's important. And the third is the cookie jar. So when you have these moments in your head, it's super powerful because there will be, again, moments of where you choose to go on you choose to run a marathon, or you choose to do, or you don't choose and life just throws something at you, and you can reach into your mind and say, oh, look, grab a random moment and be like, oh, remember this time when you did this, or this time when this happened and you reacted and you made it through. And you're using those moments to propel you and compound you further, right? Because something bad happens and you have that there. Or, like I said, you're on a 10-mile run and you're like, I ran 9 miles the other day. And then that just drives you the whole way because yesterday it sucked just as much. It's just going to suck a little more, right? An extra mile. So, again, these were kind of spitballed. But I think those are the 3 biggest takeaways that I had. Because again, you kind of got to take this down to a level of like, I'm not going to be a Navy SEAL as far as I know. So how can one do it? Right? Like, I wanted to take action on this book. I do not, like, David Goggins is not something that you can just like, I was like, I can't do this anymore. You can't be reading self-help books and you just like, okay, next. Nope. Like, this is a book that like should, when you hear all the things that he's went through in life and all the training and Ranger School and SEALs and Hell Week and all this, I'm like, dude, the least I could do is go on a run, right? Like, do something, like break the schedule a little bit, do something I'm not used to doing. And it feels good because now I feel like every time I run, I'm like, it's because of that book. Like, it's because I read that book that it makes me want to run. And yeah, so hopefully this was helpful. Let me know what you guys thought. If you want me to share, more of what I read with you guys. Again, video ideas are very spur of the moment type deals. Could be just what's on my mind. Could be what I'm reading. Could be a tapping assortment. I did do tapping on a tapping video recently. Been wanting to do like a ladies and gentlemen video where I literally just say ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. See if I can do that for 30 minutes straight. But yeah. Again, hopefully this wasn't too heavy for you. Hopefully there was some knowledge gain as you fell asleep. But with that said, thank you guys so much for listening, subscribing, viewing, liking, commenting, sharing, all that good stuff. And with that said, I will catch you in the next video.